She is known as a cold-hearted, rich, and elegant young lady. So why is she asking for a kiss from this seemingly ordinary guy? Yeah, I know it happens every time in the manga, but this time he is not an ordinary guy. He just wants to live a peaceful life. So how did he get into this situation? To find out, watch the video till the end and like and subscribe.
He calls out as his mind drifts to thoughts of the calm, ordinary life he had before that day. Suddenly realizing how everything has completely changed, he blurts out in surprise. When he calls her hesitantly, she asks for a kiss, leaving him baffled and wondering what's going on. Someone urges him to accept, and when she thanks them, he asks in disbelief if that means she's dating him. She replies that she would never accept a confession from someone who doesn't even have the courage to do it face to face. He insists that can't be true, but she simply says goodbye and walks away. He watches her go, remarking that there she goes, the princess of their class. She's athletic, smart, and beautiful, the kind of girl who's drawn attention from everyone since she first entered the school. Both boys and girls admire her, but no matter how many confessions she receives, she rejects them all without hesitation. Because of her blunt rejections, she earned the nickname Princess. He thinks about that nickname for a moment. A classmate teases him, asking if he's interested in her, to which he quickly replies not to be ridiculous, since he can't stand that kind of attitude. The classmate laughs, asking if that's really true, and says he wants to take his own shot at her. When he calls him easy, as always, the other one says he just doesn't get it. His friend then explains that men are creatures who want to climb the most unreachable mountains simply because they exist, though he admits that personally he can't relate to that kind of feeling. The friend adds that maybe he doesn't need to, making him curious what that means. The friend clarifies that either way, he doesn't plan on getting involved in something he's sure to lose, especially when he's never even spoken to her before. He reflects that, in his case, he's more involved than most, since he sits right next to the princess in class and even works at the same part-time job. Still, involved might be an exaggeration. They barely talk at all. At work, he starts to speak, saying, "My manager," but she cuts him off, saying she doesn't know, startling him as she suddenly appears behind him. He scolds her lightly for sneaking up like that. The manager wonders aloud why someone from such a famous old noble family would come work in a place like theirs, joking if it might be some sort of prank. He suggests maybe she's just trying to learn about ordinary life, but the manager counters that might describe him instead. She asks if he's heard anything about her at school, and he replies, "Of course not. We've never even spoken outside of work." The manager muses that maybe because it's him, he might actually understand her a little, though he thinks to himself, there's no way. A customer suddenly calls out to her, inviting her to have fun with him. She ignores the flirt and simply asks for his order. The manager panics, suggesting they call the police, but he tells her to calm down and let them handle it themselves. The customer smirks, claiming to be the son of a corporate CEO, offering to buy her whatever she wants since she must be short on money working part-time. She tells him firmly to leave if he isn't going to order anything, explaining that loitering like that bothers the other customers. The man clicks his tongue in irritation and curses under his breath before leaving. The manager asks if she's all right, and she replies that she's used to that sort of behavior. The manager comments that her composure is exactly what you'd expect from the princess. He finishes up, saying he's heading out, and wishes her good luck for the rest of her shift. As he walks away, he can't help but think how cool she was back there, so calm,
even when facing a man much larger than herself. But her earlier words echo in his head. I'm used to it. He wonders if he imagined it, but he thinks he saw her hand tremble for a moment. Later, he notices someone following her. That same persistent guy still hasn't given up. The man makes suggestive comments, promising to make her feel good, while she firmly tells him to stay away. She warns him to disappear quickly, saying she doesn't even want to breathe the same air as someone as despicable as him.
He thinks to himself that maybe provoking the guy that much isn't a good idea. The man snarls that she's full of herself just because she's pretty. She yells at him to stop and wait, but he laughs and says he should have just used force from the start. Someone nearby wonders if she doesn't have any bodyguards from her family. He hesitates, questioning whether to step in or not, but concludes that the princess can handle this on her own. He's always done his best to stay away from trouble, but when the man tries to lay hands on her, he can't help it. He shouts, kicking the guy hard enough to send him stumbling back in shock. With a cold glare, he warns him that hitting a woman makes him the lowest of the low, and adds that next time he won't miss. The man curses furiously, yelling about his precious hair and demanding if he thinks it's okay to raise a hand against him. Calmly, he corrects him, saying it wasn't his hand, but his foot. Enraged, the man swears he'll make sure people like him never get to speak again. But as he swings, he's stunned that his punches aren't landing at all, while the other quietly notes that it's all about maintaining the right distance. Confident in his grip strength, he figures this will be easy to control, and decides to teach the guy a lesson. The man yells that he can't move, demanding if they even know who he is, threatening that his father won't stay silent, and that this will ruin their social lives. She finally steps forward, asking if he still hasn't realized who he's dealing with. Calmly, she mentions that his father must be going through a rough time right now. Then, with composed elegance, she apologizes for the delay and introduces herself, reminding him they'd met once at a party. He stammers in confusion. When it clicks, he shouts her name in shock, realizing she's from their parent company, a major shareholder from a prestigious family. He mutters that he vaguely remembers now. She tells him that she'll have a nice little chat with her father about what happened today. Panic hits him immediately, and he pleads for her to keep it secret. She agrees, but firmly orders him to leave at once. After he rushes off, the boy asks if she's all right. She brushes his hand away, keeping her composure, and tells him to stay back. Then, in a cool tone, she asks what he wants in return for saving her. He replies that he wants nothing. He simply saw an acquaintance being attacked and stepped in. That's all. He expresses relief that she's unharmed. She gives a short nod, saying she understands, but then tilts her head, surprised, and asks if that's really all. He confirms it, though he can't help but think it'd be rude to mention how her hand had been trembling earlier. Suddenly, she laughs slightly. When he asks what's wrong, she says it's nothing, that she understands now. Then, a little hesitantly, she thanks him for saving her. With that, she says goodbye and walks away. He almost calls out to her, but stops himself, wondering if he should offer to walk her home. In the end, he decides it's too late. Meanwhile, she laughs quietly to herself, thinking that was all, and wondering why he tried so hard over something so small. Later, her butler asks what happened, but she casually brushes it off, saying she just tripped on a stone. Then she pauses and asks if he could tell her something. The next day, he finds himself wondering why he got involved in that whole mess yesterday. The manager reminds him to smile, and he agrees half-heartedly, sighing as he recalls that his usual policy is to stay out of troublesome things. Still,
Something about his behavior today feels strange. He notices that she's been acting oddly all day. Everywhere he goes, he somehow interacts with her. Whenever their eyes meet, she winks, leaving him wondering if something's wrong with her eye. Later, she even sits next to him, smiling in a way he's never seen before, though she insists the seat was just empty. By the end of the day, he realizes she's been giving him subtle signals every time they meet, and before long, strange rumors start to spread. He's stunned, realizing his quiet school life has completely fallen apart. To get away from it all, he buries himself in his part-time job, exhausted.
As he's getting ready to leave, he tells the manager he's heading out first. She wishes him well and asks if he's okay. He tells her not to worry and feels relieved that their shifts don't overlap today. Just then, she appears, greeting him with a calm, "Good work today." He replies that she worked hard too. She looks at him with a teasing expression and says she doesn't think he should be undressing in front of a lady. Startled, he quickly apologizes, asking why she's there, since he thought she had the day off. She tells him she came because she had something to talk about. He panics inwardly, wondering if he did something wrong, since he thought he'd managed to get through the day without any trouble. Suddenly, she steps forward and hugs him tightly, saying softly that finally it's just the two of them. He freezes, asking what she's doing. She answers simply, "I'm hugging you." She shouts, "That's not what I meant." She wants to know why. She leans in closer, sniffing him lightly, and murmurs that he really is something. She comments that he smells nice and that she likes his fragrance, while he stammers, asking if he isn't getting a bit too close, completely confused about what's happening. He stares in disbelief, wondering if this is really that same princess. Realizing this could turn bad in multiple ways, he tells her to let him go. She refuses, which he admits was a clever move. He sighs, asking what he has to do to make her let go. She mutters something softly about herself that he doesn't quite catch. Then she looks him in the eyes and says, "That's right. When you want to say something, you have to say it while looking the other person in the eye." With a playful smirk, she adds, "If you kiss me, I'll let you go." She stammers in shock, realizing she's completely different from the composed, elegant girl she pretends to be at school.
The scene picks up where it left off. Nana looks at Ichiga and softly says, "Kiss me." Ichiga narrates that he felt cornered, pressured by her sudden request. His mind spins as the image of the ice-cold princess she had at school shatters before his eyes. He refuses, saying, "You're not my girlfriend or anything, just a classmate, so why should I kiss you?" Nana pouts. "Then hug me." He sighs. "Are you a kid?" Wondering if this was really the same cold, untouchable girl from school. But Nana stands firm, declaring she won't let him leave until he hugs her. Ichiga thinks he can't just stay frozen there forever. "If I hug you, you'll let me go, right?" She nods, promising yes. He hugs her, and to his surprise, it doesn't feel awkward at all. Just then, the shop manager walks in and asks if he's all right. "Yeah," he replies. From within his arms, Nana quietly asks, "How much longer?" "Just a little longer," she answers herself, holding on tightly. Ichiga wonders, where did your cold side go? When he finally lets go, he tells her it's not safe to stay there any longer and that she should head home. Nana blushes and murmurs, "Ichiga's house." He stammers, "It's just an apartment. Why are you smiling like that?" But she stays quiet. They head to his place. Ichiga offers, "Do you want anything?" But Nana only looks around curiously. "You won't find anything interesting," he says. She smiles. "It's pretty tidy in here." He then asks, "Why did you ask for a kiss back at the shop?" Isn't it obvious? I like you. He's taken aback. Why? Because when you saved me yesterday, you looked really cool. Then looking straight at him, she asks, will you go out with me? Ichiga hesitates. You're from a rich family. Don't your parents decide that for you? She admits, yeah, but isn't it the same for you, Ichiga, the next head of the Ichiga family? He's shocked, she knows. She explains she's aware your family is also noble. Ichiga narrates, as heir to the Ichiga family, all that's expected of me is to produce an heir. I've accepted it. I'll marry whoever my parents choose. Nana looks sympathetic. Your family really is strict. He nods. My little sister doesn't like it either. She admits, I'd like to meet her someday, with a smile. Ichiga teases, so that's your plan, win my sister over first? Ichiga thinks, talking with Nana like this feels peaceful. Sometimes spending time like this isn't so bad. After finishing her coffee, Nana stands up and says, today was fun. Yeah, he agrees. She blushes, hesitates to say something, but instead smiles. See you at school. Ichigo watches her leave and thinks, if she always smiled like that, she'd be really cute. The next day at school, Ichigo chats with his friend when Nana approaches. Do you have a moment? His friend grins and teases him, but Nana shoots a deadly glare, silencing him instantly. If you're busy, we can talk later, she says calmly. Then with a composed smile, she announces, my fiancé has been decided. Everyone around them freezes in shock. I see, Ichigo replies quietly, though inside he feels something twist. He knows this is how things work in families like theirs. Have you met him? Soon. Good luck, he tells her. Yeah, she smiles before walking away. The class falls silent, some even tearing up. That evening, Ichigo receives a call from his father and is suddenly summoned to a hotel. He mutters that the marriage talks are moving too fast. A flashback shows his father telling him his wedding is already arranged and he's meeting his fiancée tomorrow. At the hotel, his father arrives in a helicopter, telling him she's beautiful. Act like the next head of the Ichigo family. He steels himself. I have to be strong. I'll accept this fate. He opens the door, and standing there is Nana. With a graceful smile, she says, nice to meet you. I'm your fiancé, darling.
Nanase smiled at Ijo, saying it was a pleasure to meet him, and formally introduced herself as the second daughter of the Nanase family, politely asking him to take care of her from now on. Nan's grandpa chuckled, let's leave the rest to this young couple, while Ijo's father laughed and agreed, leaving the two of them alone. Surprised and flustered, Ichijo asked, what is all this? Nanase teased, Ada, are you surprised, my dear husband? As she came closer, Ichijo remembered when she had told him her fiancé had been chosen. He'd felt sad for her then, never imagining that he would be the one. With both their families completely on board, there was no way this engagement could be called off. Nanase recalled, you were so shy and timid in front of Grandpa. Did I embarrass you a little? Ichijo admitted it. But you were acting perfectly normal, he said. She grinned, explaining, that's because I practiced behaving like that so everyone would adore me. I wonder if you've fallen for me yet. Ichijo replied honestly, I still don't see you that way. What a pity, Nanase teased, then asked more seriously, how do I look? It's nice. Just nice? She asked, shocked. Your hair looks nice. Did you dye it? He added. Nanase told him it was just an extension, then asked if he liked it. Ichijo replied that he actually preferred her natural black hair. It suited the school rules better. Nanase teased, repeating, Ichijo likes my black hair. Embarrassed, he denied it, but she shrugged. It's fine if I'm wrong now. From now on, we'll always be together, and you'll come to love every part of me. When Ichijo realized she was moving in with him, he was shocked. Nanase said, didn't your dad tell you? I'm moving into your apartment starting tomorrow. Ichijo thought, Dad didn't tell me this at all. The next day, Nanase commented, looks like almost everything's been unpacked. Thank you, Ichijo. He replied, since we're living together now, it's only natural. He still couldn't believe that it had all been decided just the day before, yet Nanase had already moved in with such energy. Sitting on his bed, Nanase praised his taste for furniture. Ichijo told her she could use that room while he went to his own, but she stopped him. "Wait, why don't you sit and rest with me a bit?" He hesitated, but ended up sitting beside her after she teased, "Ada, Ichijo, you're unexpectedly shy. If you stay that nervous, life will be exhausting." "Whose fault do you think that is?" he muttered. Laughing, Nanase laid down and invited him to join her. "Relax. It's so comfortable lying here. Why don't you lie down for a bit? How about it? We're going to sleep together, aren't we, my dear husband?" Ichijo thought Nanase was testing whether he'd resist. Determined to be more assertive, he grabbed her hand. Nanase asked, "What's this, husband?" He replied, "If you provoke me and I react like this, what will you do? Consider this a lesson." Nanase smiled. "I'm totally fine if you use a little force." Flustered, Ichijo quickly jumped off the bed, apologized, and excused himself to take a shower. "I sweated so much moving things," he said. "You're so weak, my dear husband." In the bathroom, Ichijo looked in the mirror thinking, that was too much. As he began changing his shirt, Nanase suddenly entered. "Wait a second, I'm changing," he protested. Closing her eyes, she offered, "Do you need me to wash your back?" He declined, joking, "If you can't see me without clothes, don't push yourself too hard." After that, Nanase kept showering him with affection, feeding him by hand, massaging his shoulders, always finding ways to stay close. To cool off, Ichijo went to the convenience store thinking, even though I planned to fight back in bed, I was the one who took all the damage. She's like a storm, my steady heart, my peaceful life. What's waiting for me at home? When he returned, he called out, "I'm home, Nanase," but heard no reply, assuming she was asleep. Exhausted, he headed to his bedroom, only to find Nanase sleeping in his bed, wearing his shirt. Her eyes fluttered open as he entered, and she apologized. "I'm sorry, I fell asleep by accident." He asked, "Is this my room?" but was more concerned about her wearing his shirt. She admitted softly, "I've fallen in love with your scent, so I accidentally put it on." He frowned. "Accidentally?" Nanase smiled. "To me, this is now his shirt." He insisted that she change out of his clothes and stop sniffing them. Nanase refused. He tried not to get distracted, but noticed she had left several buttons undone, flustering him even more. "There's school tomorrow, so go to sleep," he urged. Nanase retorted, "Didn't I say we're sleeping together?" He was shocked. "You were serious about that?" She smiled softly. "Tonight's the first night we're spending together. We should make it a special memory, shouldn't we?" Just to be sure, Ichijo asked, "We're only sleeping together tonight, right? Nothing else?" She giggled. "Of course, just for tonight." Ichijo wondered how long she would keep tempting him. She was still a high school student, and now they were living under the same roof. If the engagement were ever called off, her reputation could be damaged. But he couldn't bring himself to refuse her. "All right, for tonight, let's sleep together," he said at last. Nanase smiled proudly. "As expected of my dear husband. I knew you'd say that. Now, let's go to bed." They lay down, side by side. "Are you asleep?" Nanase asked. "Still awake," he replied. "I'm too excited to sleep," she admitted. "Is your heart pounding?" He lied. "No," while thinking, "I already regret this, but I've decided to see it through." Suddenly, Nanase hugged him and whispered, "Do you really not feel anything? Am I not good enough to be your wife?" Ichijo reflected that Nanase was doing her best to act like a real wife. Even though he had no experience, he knew he had to choose his words carefully. "Nanase, you're someone I really like. What stage do you think we're at now?" Just then, he heard her breathing steady. She had already fallen asleep. "Did you fall asleep?" he asked softly. Half asleep, she murmured, "I'll keep working hard, my dear husband." Ichijo smiled faintly. "Good night, Nanase." But an hour later, he still couldn't fall asleep. Nanase had grabbed his hand in her sleep and never let go.
The next day starts with the couple arguing early in the day. Nanase asks, well, why, when Ichijo firmly says no from outside their apartment building, she expresses her desire to go to school together, asking, why can't we go to school together? Ichijo, concerned about drawing attention, tells her, hey, don't give me that look, and thinks to himself, it'll be bad if we draw too much attention. Nanase then suggests they should spend more time together since they're engaged. Ichijo reminds her that they are still students. He urges her to get ready for school and mentions he's already made breakfast. Nanase, a bit flustered, says they did spend the night together and tells him not to use such easily misunderstood phrasing. They move on to breakfast, which Nanase describes as a French breakfast. She happily says, ooh, a French breakfast, itarakimasu. Ichijo, trying to manage her enthusiasm, says let's eat before the food gets cold and attempts to reiterate, as I was saying, let's go to school together, when she suggests inviting a friend along if they can't go as a couple. Ichijo quickly rejects the idea. He realizes she seems to have moved past her previous obsession. Eventually, Ichijo concedes, thinking, well, I guess we have to go as a couple after all. Nanase is pleased, expressing that she doesn't mind if people see them together. Ichijo questions her obsession with the idea. Nanase clarifies that she thought as a couple they didn't need a reason to be together, and he was busy with his own things. Ichijo finally agrees, fine, then let's go together. Later, as they discuss their plans, Ichijo suggests they can't go to school together but can meet up afterward to go to the supermarket for dinner. Nanase thinks this compromise plan sounds great, like something a married couple would do. However, she wonders if they have to do this every day. She winks and says she'll be in charge of dinner that night, promising to put my all into making it. Ichijo decides to leave first, and Nanase playfully calls out, see you later, my dear husband, and she tells him, Nanase, you take care too. Ichijo blushes. At school, Ichijo notices many absences and wonders if the flu is going around. His friend Minato arrives and greets him. Minato reveals that the absences are due to the shock from this news about the Ice Queen's marriage proposal spreading over the school. Ichijo is surprised to learn there's a fan club for her. Minato then muses that he should make his move on her, since an arranged marriage doesn't necessarily mean they're in love. Ichijo is taken aback. Minato's friend reminds him that he already has Yu-chan, making Minato exclaim about what he just blurted out. Minato explains that the Ice Queen, Nanase, is known as an angel and is beautiful, but since he spends so much time with Yu-chan, he's already used to looking at her. Ichijo seems to understand. Suddenly, Ichijo imagines Nanase glaring at him with disdain, crossing her arms and legs. He reacts with shock when a group of students around him declare, I won't forgive that fiancé, and I won't forgive him. He wonders what's gotten into them all of a sudden. Ichijo, slightly annoyed, thinks that the engagement is because of Nanase's family, according to rumors. Fan club, wish for her happiness. The club members declare they won't accept someone who won't make Nanase happy. They shout that all the students in the school should have a chance and plan to cross-examine the fiancé once they find out who it is. Someone warns them, hey, you're getting a bit carried away there. A girl, embarrassed, asks Ichijo if he would please help us find out who the fiancé is. Minato adds that even though their arguments don't make sense, you guys are way too united in this. Ichijo thinks, now more than before, we definitely can't be exposed now, regretting his impulsive reply. Another student mentions that Nanase did reject you in such a harsh way in front of everyone, suggesting that pressure from Minato might make her tell the truth. Ichijo just mutters, The classroom door rattles, and Nanase walks in, greeting everyone with, good morning. The students who were just loudly discussing her quickly scatter and sit down. Ichijo notices her sitting down and thinks, seems like you're having fun with your friends. Nanase glances at him from the eye of her eye. Ichijo peeks at her while she seems to be ignoring him. Later, for PE, a teacher announces, all right, after you're done with your stretches, pair up with someone. We're playing doubles. Ichijo realizes they are playing tennis today. Both him and Nanase ponder about who they will pair up with. Ichijo wonders, I wonder who Ichijo-kun will pair up with Nanase-kun. Ichijo reflects that he has been too aware of Nanase this whole time because he's lived my best not to make friends, making his situation tough. He sees that there is nobody to group up with right now. He decides he needs to find someone to pair up with quick. He thinks that for the sake of the Ichijo family, he has to be patient. Another student pats him on the back and calls, hey. Nanase then approaches Ichijo and asks, Ichijo-kun, will you pair up with me? He is shocked, exclaiming, Nanase!
The other students are surprised, exclaiming things like, "The cool type representatives of my school are pairing up," and "What? Ichiko and the Ice Queen is pairing up? I'm so jealous." Ichijo, recovering, replies, "If you're okay with me." They shake hands. The teacher instructs them to go to the court and practice hitting rallies. Nanase starts hitting the ball confidently. Ichijo, surprised, mutters, "Hey, I'm just an ordinary person at tennis." Nanase playfully hits the ball with power, thinking, Ichijo-kun saying that in front of everyone is so embarrassing. Ichijo is surprised by her power and asks, "What are you plotting?" He thinks she's the type who can't take it easy. He observes her beautiful form and groans, "Ugh, she's really an ice queen in all ways, huh?" He realizes, this was what I was talking about. She continues to hit powerful rallies, finding them so fun. Ichijo barely manages to return some shots, thinking, there's no time to have fun. He struggles, exclaiming, "Shit, I can't return it." Nanase smirks, thinking, "Haha, watch this." When a person finally hits a powerful shot back, she says, "Nanase-san, you sure seem strong in tennis." He recognizes her as Todo Miku from the tennis club. She then challenges him, "Let's have a match, Miss Ice Queen." He smiles, but she is clearly angry.